What's up, guys? I'm Crystal Lee Naomi, aka Jasmine Borders on Tyler Perry's Sisters. Be sure to subscribe to the Haves and the Have-Nots review for not only reviews on the Haves and the Have-Nots, but also on Sisters. And while you're at it, give your girl a follow on Instagram at Crystal Lee Naomi. And I'll see you every Wednesday at 9, only on BET.
All right, Sisters fans, hope everybody's doing well. And this is just a brief discussion video about whether or not Gary is lying about his autistic son. Now, I went back on BET Plus, and there was one episode I knew for a fact I had to find in order to get clarification on one specific line of dialogue. And my boo Jasmine said it, so I knew exactly where to go. I'm talking season 1, episode 12, and let me get the title real quick. That's the episode All I Got. It's towards like the end of the episode. It's not the end where Aaron's ex-wife goes to the salon and shoots herself in front of Karen, but it's the scene before that where Gary, Andy, Jasmine, Leslie are all in Andy's apartment. But before going further, please take a moment to hit that like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post new content to the channel. And follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Now, in this specific line of dialogue, Jasmine says, your kids are going to hate you for this, basically in reference to being with Andy instead of being with her. And from there, Jasmine, I always love you for being the mother of my kids, but it's not going to work out between us. So yeah, it's been said multiple times that they have more than one child. I mean, hell, in the early episodes when Jasmine was meeting up with Andy to discuss divorce options, she mentions the fact that, they have an autistic child, but they have more than one kid. But all of a sudden, when we get to season 3, episode 2, he's telling Gary's telling Andy, I need to go get my son from Jasmine's mother's house. So it's like, I want to put it out there. I don't think those two having children is a lie. But my question is, did Tyler Perry kind of rewrite it? Look, okay, I'm not going to hold that against him because of the fact that, well, Calvin has a son with a quote-unquote crazy baby mama. Yeah, don't believe me? Go back to like Sistas episode 2, I think, the first time that Sabrina and Calvin go on like a date. And he mentions that. But we've never seen or heard anything of this son at all, aside from that one episode. So it's not uncommon for shows to kind of retcon details from earlier seasons. So I'm not going to hold it against him too much because I'm going to be, truth be told, here's what I think. Let's look at the details about this situation. Okay, so Gary got shot twice with rubber bullets, and trust and believe I'll do a separate video on that one. So he got shot with a couple of rubber bullets. Paramedics helped him up, and he's fine. He's like, I need to go to Jasmine's mother's house to get my son. And I think he said I would bring him back here. I think he said something along those lines. So he tells Andy, no, you can't go because if you go, it's going to cause a lot of commotion because, to show up with the woman that I left their daughter for, basically daughter and sister because Jasmine's mother, Jasmine's sisters. It's just one of those things where it's like, Gary definitely is giving good advice. Well, I could wait in the car. No, I don't think you should go. What I'm thinking is we're going to be in a situation where Gary goes over there, but I'm trying to think, okay, how would this go? Gary goes to his crazy in-laws who by now, without a doubt, would know that Jasmine and Gary have gotten a divorce. He goes to get his autistic son. And obviously, he would probably say, hey, your daughter came by and tried to kill me. Where did she go? To that whore's apartment who you left her for? I'm taking my son. This reminds me of season 1 when Andy finally put her foot down and told Gary, No, no, no. The plan is you're going to go back to your wife until this whole thing blows over. That way we can save my career and whatnot, because I'm not going to lose everything for you. And then Gary's like, you know what? Fine. We're going to do it your way. I'm going to go back home with her for a little while until this thing blows over. But then we find out he never went back home. He's been staying at a hotel. So basically, he says he's going to do one thing, but then he does something completely different. And I mentioned this in my review and on Twitter. Listen to the background music during the scene when he's telling Andy about going to pick up his son. It definitely has that sinister season 1 Gary vibe to it. Like something happens, well, in season 1, it typically had to do with Gary being an asshole. Like, he'll apologize for something. He'll act all nice and sweet, but then he'll go right back to that asshole, bossy persona telling Andy what to do or how things are going to be, and then Andy just sits there like, oh. So I'm just looking at the situation, because the next day he swings by and he's like, oh, hey, so I dropped off my son with my mother, and I'm like, mother? Remember season 1 when Jasmine took his mother's urn and said, oh yeah, remember your mom? Didn't she die in a house fire? So she pours the urn ashes into the gas tank before setting the car on fire. So Gary's mother is dead. I mean, unless he's referring to his stepmother, let's say his father got remarried or something, because I'm thinking, you liar. So I do believe that Jasmine and Gary have kids. It's just not uncommon in television shows or movies to just not have kids be prominent roles. Like, they'll be mentioned. What's that saying? It's like, kids are to be seen and not heard. I feel like the same thing could be said about this show. It's like, why is there such an emphasis on the autistic son when there are multiple children that Jasmine and Gary supposedly have? It's like, is this a setup for manipulation? Like, where's Gary going to go? Is he going to go confirm that Jasmine's locked up, or what the hell's going on here? Just a lot of things aren't adding up. So let me just say that in terms of continuity, this autistic child exists, but there's supposed to be more than just this one child. I don't know if we're ever going to see him on screen. I mean, hell, towards the end of the episode, and he's like, I want to meet him. And I'm like, wait, what? And then Gary's like, well, no, his autism and whatnot, this isn't a good time. He wouldn't want to meet you, especially with, his mother gone and everything. There's a lot for him to take in. So again, it sounds like he's making reasonable explanations, but this is Gary we're talking about, and his track record in terms of being trustworthy isn't the best. So I'm just saying, I don't think we should trust this guy as far as we can throw him. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I noticed a lot of tweets and DMs. People are like, wait, autistic son? When did Gary have a son? It's been established way back in season 1 by both Jasmine and Gary. I'm just saying. Because I've been wondering the whole time, with Jasmine pulling all these shenanigans, who the hell watching the kids? Apparently her side of the family. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think Gary is just full of crap? Do you think Andy will meet these quote-unquote imaginary children or child? And where do you go from there? So thanks so much for tuning in. I mean, this is definitely something to think about as we process things for next week, because this week's episode was not that good. And if you want to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App.